My course, doing what I come to do, which is the music and do it the best way I.
Winston Rodney, the Jamaican roots reggae singer better known by the stage name Burning Spear, is one of the most influential artists of the roots reggae movement of the 70s. However, unlike many of his colleagues who faded into obscurity and struggled financially, Burning Spear remains a global icon. Beyond his musical career, there is considerable interest in his personal life, including his net worth, assets, family life, and overall lifestyle. Is Burning Spear living a life of luxury in 2025? Let's find out. Burning Spear's net worth. The name Burning Spear isn't strange to you, is it? Now, have you ever wondered how much a reggae legend is worth as of 2025? How about the success of his financial journey so far? As of now, Burning Spear, who recently turned 80, has an estimated net worth of approximately $19 million. That's huge, right? He is one of those artists who has accumulated much wealth from his musical career, and his net worth has steadily increased over the last few years. However, the question is, how does he make his money? And how has he managed to sustain it to date? The main source of Burning Spear's income comes from his music sales. Did you know that his albums are still selling worldwide today? They have been in demand from the days of vinyl to this era of digital streaming and have generated a lot of money for him. Burning Spear's live performances and concert tours contributed significantly to his net worth. The sales of tickets during his numerous tours and live shows generated substantial revenue for him. His late 1970s and early 1980s tours, for instance, were very successful, and they generated more than $50,000 per show. In addition to album sales and live performances, Burning Spear made money from royalties and licensing deals, which means he receives payment every time one of his songs plays on the radio, in a film, or is streamed. Also, merchandise sales contribute to his earnings. How does this work? Any business that sells t-shirts, reissues, and reggae compilations, which feature his work, pays him each time they make sales. However, this is not his only source of wealth. He did not just rely on music to accumulate his riches. He also invested in real estate and other profitable ventures, which contributed to his overall net worth. He owns several properties in Jamaica and abroad, and these properties, which have appreciated significantly over the years, have given him a steady stream of rental income and capital gains. In addition to real estate, he has also invested in stocks and other financial instruments. While specific figures of his investment portfolio are not publicly available, it is estimated to be worth several $100,000. Do you want to know what else he did to generate revenue and improve his financial status? He got endorsements and entered into partnerships with brands and organizations. As a result of his influence and fame, brands usually approached him for collaborations, so he leveraged that to secure lucrative deals. All these collaborations and partnerships have added to his overall net worth. However, perhaps his smartest move was claiming ownership of his music. Every fan should know that in 2002, Burning Spear reclaimed the rights to his music by establishing his record label, Burning Music. That means, instead of letting record labels profit from his work forever, he made sure that the financial profits of his music went directly to him. In an interview with Wired, Spear shared the challenges he faced with record labels, how they had control of all his songs, and how they collected his publishing and royalties without paying him even when agreements were up. He mentioned how important it was to him that he now owned his copyright. He didn't want anyone else to decide how his music would be used or what he should profit from. That decision alone likely protected him from the kind of financial trouble that many older musicians face today. How many legendary artists have we seen go broke because of unfavorable record deals and not owning rights to their music? Many, right? The likes of TLC, George Clinton, Tom Petty, Little Richard, and others. Even now that Burning Spear is 80, his music still sells well and generates income. On top of that, he's still performing from time to time. Even though he officially retired from touring in 2016, he resumed in 2021. For example, he is scheduled to perform alongside Ziggy Marley at their Do the Reggae tour. which will be held at the rooftop at Pier 17 in New York City on the 24th of September 2005. You might hear that Burning Spear is worth $19 million and think it is not much for someone with such a big legacy. However, here's the thing. We don't measure his wealth just in dollars. His value also lies in his creative and cultural impact on reggae music. This man is far from struggling. He is living comfortably with his family and is truly rich in every way that matters. Burning Spear's net worth is expected to grow in the coming years because he is still successful in the music industry and maintains smart financial decisions. Wife, Sonia Rodney. Behind every successful artist, someone offers support and works quietly behind the scenes to ensure their success. For the reggae icon, Burning Spear, that person is his wife, Sonia Rodney. Many fans know Winston Rodney as Burning Spear, but not many know about the woman who stood by his side all these years and fought for him to have his brand. Sonia Rodney is not just Burning Spear's wife, but also his manager and the backbone of his career. Let's look at who she is and why she's so important in Winston Rodney's story. Sonia was born in Kingston, but raised in the Blackwood district in Clarendon. Winston Rodney got married to her in the 80s. However, when did their love story begin, and how did they meet? Winston Rodney, better known as Burning Spear, met Sonia in 1975 at his Queens, New York concert. She had visited her sister, who was a fan of Burning Spear. She invited Sonia to the concert, so Sonia followed her there. The story has it that Sonia was 15 years old and already a single mother. It so happens that they were in the front row at the concert, and Spear passed by, and her sister, who is a very outspoken person, shouted, "Hi, Burning Spear!" He came over and talked briefly with them, then went to do his performance. After the show, he came over again and told them he liked Sonia and her sister, and invited them to come to the concert he was hosting at Central Park. On the day of the concert, when they arrived at Central Park, Burning Spear came out and took them backstage. That was the second time Burning Spear came to America, and the girls enjoyed the concert. From then on, they became very good friends. But Sonia was still a minor, so they didn't get into a relationship. In any case, right from the beginning, Spear and Sonia just clicked. Everybody was trying to get close to him, but she wasn't doing that and didn't know anything about a groupie. All she wanted to do was hang out with him and her sister, and she had no ulterior motive. Ending up with a singer wasn't part of her plan. Winston was shy and did not ask for anyone's attention. She said, "He gravitated toward me because I was someone he could talk to." They became friends, and he kept going back and forth to Jamaica. Whenever he came up, he would visit her in her mother's house, and they would hang out together. They developed a great friendship until she came of legal age. When she was 18, they had developed feelings for each other. They married there in the States before returning to Jamaica together to live. Spear already had 4 children, and Sonia had a son called Kevin. That's 5 kids, and they lived together in Spears's house at Garvey Lawn in St. Anne, where Kevin was born. Their marriage had ups and downs, but their sincere friendship from the beginning kept them going. They migrated back to the States when things got expensive in Jamaica and their business wasn't moving. It took a while for Spear to adjust to life in the States because he wanted to return to Jamaica. He wanted to go back as often as possible. However, he was torn between Sonia, the family, the kids, and Jamaica. Coming to America was the hardest decision that he ever made. When they started in America, Sonia didn't immediately become his manager. She wasn't the one booking tours and helping Spear manage the day-to-day runnings. She immediately got her first job at Kentucky Fried Chicken and later at J.C. Penney, where she worked in retail for years to supplement their income. They didn't have that much money, and they never knew how much Spear would make on the road, so it was reliable for her to work at the store. She became very good at customer service, and it turned out it was all training for the position of a manager she later had to take up. How did she come around to be Burning Spear's manager? The reason she became his manager and started to do the booking was that Spear came home with only $300. He had toiled hard during tours, but most of the money went to the agency. So he asked Sonia to start booking and replace the person handling it. So she quit her job at J.C. Penney and worked for him full-time as his manager. That was in 1989. She booked his tours, prepared his itinerary, managed his schedules, handled contracts, and was involved with the music distribution. Can you imagine that? How wonderful was it having her as his wife and manager? It must have been a good experience. Her influence as his manager helped him stay independent in a music industry that often pressures artists to give up control. When the problems with the record labels became too much to handle, they formed their record label, Burning Music Records, in 2002. This move gave them full control over his music, how it was distributed and marketed, and gave him direct access to the financial gains, unlike before. Sonia is also the one who has been making important choices about where and when he performs. For example, after he officially retired from touring in 2016, she organized small comeback performances at selected concerts and events in recent years. Burning Spear and Sonia have been married for nearly 50 years, and they have built a family and a music legacy admired across generations. It's rare to see a couple stay together this long in music, especially while working closely in business. There are countless divorces and broken relationships that many artists have had to deal with. This is because there is always a clash between fame and personal life. However, for Sonia, their relationship has been resilient because it is not based on love alone, but also on vision. As for their children, there is not much information on the internet about them. The only available information says that Sonia's son, Kevin Thompson, passed away from a brain tumor at the age of 35. Burning Spear wrote the song "The Cure," affected by the way he lost his son. So, what's life like for the couple now? Sonia and Spear live a quiet life in Queens, New York. Let's find out more about his residence. Mansion in Queens, New York. The legendary reggae artist Burning Spear has lived at a mansion in Queens, New York, with his wife since the mid-1990s. This residential house is in a serene cul-de-sac in the heart of the city and offers a rare combination of historic charm and modern luxury. It was originally built in 1925 and spans an impressive 5,000 square feet, boasting 5 spacious bedrooms and 5 bathrooms, making it a true urban retreat. When you enter the residence, you will be greeted by a grand entryway and enchanted by its serenity. Also, the mansion is fitted with floor-to-ceiling glass walls, which allow natural light to flood inside the house during the daytime, giving it a feeling of warmth. The home's interior is considered as thoughtful as the man himself. Wooden beams, vintage furnishings, and eclectic art pieces fill the space. There are relics from his travels, musical instruments scattered about, and shelves lined with rare records and books. Inside is a living room with a sophisticated yet comfortable atmosphere, perfect for relaxing or entertaining guests. One wall of the huge room was nearly covered by a 13-foot-wide mirror that extended from the floor to the ceiling. A long custom-made sofa and 4 armchairs covered in white quilted silk with tropical patterns are found across from the fireplace. The coffee tables are made of black lacquer with gunmetal and glass tops, and on either side of each table, there are Regency chairs with button-tufted seats in brown satin. It also has a home studio that allows him to work on music whenever the mood strikes. The large windows let in soft light and create an almost meditative environment. Next up is the gourmet chef's kitchen. This kitchen is a major highlight of the house, featuring a spacious center island illuminated by stylish pendant lights, double sinks for added convenience, and high-end appliances that cater to culinary enthusiasts. The formal dining room exudes elegance with its marble gas fireplace and vaulted ceiling. Adjacent to the dining area, the family room has an electric fireplace to provide a cozy setting. A serene sunroom offers panoramic views of the beautifully landscaped garden surrounding the house, creating a perfect space for quiet reflection. Additionally, there's a conveniently located power room that enhances the functionality of the main floor. Moving up from the first floor, you will find yourself on the second floor. This floor features a luxurious master suite with spacious walk-in closets and a private retreat-like ambiance. There are also 2 additional bedrooms here, each with its own full bath to provide ample accommodation for family or guests. The lower level of the home is equally impressive, featuring a large family room, storage closets, a well-equipped laundry room, and a fully functional home gym. The outdoors of this mansion is just as inviting as the interior. There are 2 spacious patios ideal for hosting or unwinding in nature, a state-of-the-art spa featuring an automated gazebo, and it offers a resort-like experience. A well-maintained garden surrounds the property, adding to its tranquil appeal. There's also a 2-car garage, and it has a custom automatic tailgate, which ensures convenience for vehicle storage. This remarkable home also boasts numerous modern upgrades, enhancing both comfort and security. A Ring central home security system is installed throughout the property, providing peace of mind. Custom remote-controlled window shades offer effortless light adjustment, while heated floors and zoned gas heating provide warmth during the colder months. The residence also features a tankless water heater, a supplemental water heater, and zoned central air conditioning, ensuring year-round comfort. A water purification system is integrated throughout the home to further enhance the quality of life, ensuring access to clean and safe water. This house symbolizes Burning Spear's success and desire for a peaceful retreat. It embodies a balance between urban sophistication and private sanctuary. As we mentioned, there's a sizable garage in this house. What do you imagine when you think of a global music legend's garage? Luxurious cars, right? Let's check out his car collection. Car collections. Have you ever wondered what kind of car the popular Burning Spear drives? Is it a flashy sports car or a fleet of limousines? If you're expecting stories of Lamborghinis or Ferraris, you will be a little surprised. Burning Spear, whose real name is Winston Rodney, has always been known for his simplicity. You know, many celebrities who follow his standard always like to flaunt luxurious cars and extravagant rides. However, Spear is not like that. He doesn't live an extravagant lifestyle. Since we've established that, let's now look at his vehicles. Spear prefers reliable sedans or SUVs that serve their purpose rather than luxurious vehicles like Ferraris and limousines, which draw unnecessary attention. Going into his garage, you'll see a Toyota Highlander, a Honda CR-V, and a Nissan Pathfinder. Why choose modest cars? For Spear, a car can transport him so far and functions well, so he is okay with it. He doesn't need a flashy vehicle to prove his success or wealth. He already has his music to do that for him. People usually say, you can tell a lot about someone by what they drive and how they do it. So what does Burning Spear's choice of cars say about him? It clearly shows that he appreciates functionality more than luxury and beauty. He owns cars as a means of transportation, not for some kind of show-off. Burning Spear's collection of cars says a lot about exactly who he is. A simple, practical man who is satisfied with just enjoying life on his terms. He doesn't tie his worth and happiness to material wealth. His choice of cars reflects his humble lifestyle and his family's background. His car collection makes it obvious to everyone that he is a Jamaican and an ardent Rastafarian. Of course, cars are just one small part of Spear's lifestyle. So let's learn more about this legend, his background, and his legacy in music. The roots of the reggae legend. When you hear the name Burning Spear, what comes to mind? Perhaps it's the powerful voice behind songs like Marcus Garvey, Columbus, and Jah Knew Dead, or he upholds the Rastafarian culture. However, who is the man we call Burning Spear? Burning Spear, whose real name is Winston Rodney, is a Jamaican roots reggae singer and musician. Like many famous Jamaican reggae artists, Burning Spear is known for his Rastafarian movement messages. His songs advocate honesty, peace, and love, which aligns with his religious and political messages of Rasta and Black unity. Winston was born on the 1st of March 1945 at St. Ann's Bay, St. Ann, Jamaica. As a young man, he listened to the rhythm and blues, soul, and jazz music transmitted by the U.S. radio stations whose broadcasts reached Jamaica. Did you know this is the same place where the legend Bob Marley and Marcus Garvey came from? It's not surprising, is it? St. Anne seems to have birthed great and legendary reggae artists. Bob Marley and Garvey both had a great influence on Rodney's life. Garvey, in his philosophy, which Burning Spear greatly took to, and Marley directly helped Burning Spear get started in the music industry. In 1969, Bob Marley advised Rodney to approach Coxsone Dodd's Studio One label after Rodney sought his advice during a casual conversation. Bob Marley referred Winston to Studio One largely because the label consistently produced hit records, and the careers of many reggae luminaries like himself were launched there. He did exactly as Bob told him, which was the beginning of his career. Adopting the stage name Burning Spear did not just come randomly. It was inspired by Jomo Kenyatta, the first Prime Minister and President of an independent Kenya, whose nickname was the Burning Spear. Winston initially started Burning Spear as a group with bass singer Rupert Willington. The duo auditioned for Dodd in 1969, which led to the release of their debut single, Door Peep. When Mr. Dodd first heard Door Peep, he was astonished. For a man who had been in the music business for so long, he had never heard anything like that. Tenor singer Delroy Hines then joined them. The trio recorded several more singles for Dodd and 2 albums. Spear released a solid roots reggae set with Dodd, The Soulful Rocking Time, in 1974. His next album, 1975's Marcus Garvey, is considered a benchmark of Jamaica's 1970s roots reggae golden era. The Solidarity title track was originally intended for exclusive play on producer Lawrence Jack Ruby Lindo's high-power sound system. However, the song was so popular at Ruby's dances that he released it as a single, and it became an immediate hit. Spear followed that with another stirring reggae anthem, the haunting lament, Slavery Days. The Marcus Garvey album soared to the top of the Jamaican charts, which led to a deal with Island Records to give the album a wider release. Burning Spear later released Man in the Hills, again featuring Willington and Hines, for Island. As fame took hold, the group dismembered, and the name gradually became synonymous with Winston. His subsequent albums on the Island label were released as a solo artist throughout the 1970s. Spear released albums for various labels throughout the 1980s before signing to Island again, issuing just 2 albums with them in the early 1990s. In 1982, Rodney signed with Heartbeat Records with a series of well-received albums following, including the 1985 Grammy-nominated Resistance. He returned to the Island in the early 1990s, releasing 2 albums before rejoining Heartbeat. This arrangement, in which Burning Music Productions delivered completed music albums to EMI, Island, and Heartbeat Records for worldwide distribution, lasted for many years. When Heartbeat ceased releasing new material, Burning Music took matters into its own hands and began to release music solely through its imprint. Albums released by Heartbeat through an agreement with Burning Music include The World Should Know, Rasta Business, Appointment with His Majesty, and the Grammy Award-winning Calling Rastafari, the last completed album to be solely pressed by an outside label. Burning Spear spent decades touring extensively, and several live albums have been issued, including Burning Spear Live, Live in Paris, Live in South Africa, Live in Vermont, Peace and Love Live, Live at Montreux Jazz Festival, and Alive in Concert, 1997. Touring the world repeatedly, the band's live sound matured and grew more sophisticated. While remaining firmly rooted in reggae, accents of free jazz, funk, and psychedelic music were increasingly evident. Spear did not profit from these recordings and tours because the record label completely owned the music and the gains. Like many young Jamaican artists in the 1970s and 1980s, Spear perhaps did not fully understand the international record deals he was signing. More than likely, it was never explained that the advances artists receive are intended to cover the cost of recording their albums, and that money must be recouped by the label from album sales before an artist will receive any revenue. During that era, Recording companies owned the master recordings and required artists to give them their publishing rights too. After decades of receiving little financial returns for his albums, Spear and Sonia sought to identify the barriers preventing the money from coming in. Sonia taught herself the nuances of the music business by reading books, attending seminars, and talking to seasoned professionals. Winston and his wife, Sonia Rodney, his manager, founded Burning Spear Productions in 2002, took control of his catalog, and began releasing Spear's music there. One of the first things she did was launch a Burning Spear merchandise line, which immediately generated revenue. They also manufactured their albums and CDs and handled their distribution. Burning Spear now owns the copyrights to most of his songs. After some research and a subsequent lawsuit, he bought back some of the copyrights to his earlier music from the estate of a deceased former manager who had never purchased those rights. Since establishing their record label, Winston and Sonia Rodney have released nearly 40 singles, CDs, DVDs, and vinyl albums on the Burning Music imprint. Many of these have been deluxe editions of albums previously available on other labels and often include bonus tracks and DVD footage. Talk about success with the love of your life. For nearly 5 decades and after the release of 28 albums, he has carried the torch of the gospel of political activist Marcus Garvey, promoting self-determination and self-reliance for African descendants through lyrics and rhythms that truly deliver the messages of peace and love to all. Burning Spear has won 2 Grammy Awards for Best Reggae Album, one at the 4th Grammy Awards in the year 2000 for Calling Rastafari, and one for 2009, Jah is Real. He has been nominated for 12 Grammy Awards, including his recent 2024 Grammy nomination for Best Reggae Album for his album No Destroyer. Back in 2006, Burning Spear had hinted at retirement. Indeed, he had stayed away from the stage for many years. However, in 2022, at the age of 77, he started touring again. He performed at the Rotterdam Sunsplash Festival in Spain and on the Welcome to Jamrock cruise in December that same year. From then till now, he has been making special performances at concerts and festivals. We guess you can't resist the call of music when you've devoted your whole life to it. This year, 2025, Burning Spear is 80 years old, and he is scheduled to perform alongside Ziggy Marley at their Do the Reggae tour, which will be held at the Rooftop at Pier 17 in New York City on the 24th of September, 2025. This show will be incredible because people haven't seen them in a while, so they will have a stronger energy force on site. If you are a fan of Burning Spear, you shouldn't miss it for anything in the world. You would sure have a great time. So, what do you think? Is Burning Spear living a life of luxury in 2025? By celebrity standards, do you think he is rich enough for a man of his caliber? How soon do you think the music legend will step away from the spotlight? Leave your answers in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more. Before you go, watch the other videos on your screen.